This very horrifying incident is part of the reasons I've always said that most convicted criminals, if given a second chance of freedom, they always end up repeating the same crime or doing something similar. If you can watch this video to the end, you will definitely agree with me on this, because this young man you are seeing on the screen right now is just the type of criminal I'm talking about. If you are patient with me, I'm going to tell you how he changed his names and his location, but didn't change his type of crime and still did not change his ways of implicating anybody of his choice, most especially the ones that he has personal beef with. His present name is Michael Ezewanyi, and he's a 30-year-old man from Edo State, that's southern part of Nigeria. And the incident happened on the 23rd of October 2025 in Agbo, that's Ika South local government area of Delta State, that's the same southern part of Nigeria. On that particular day at about 11 p.m., he broke into an apartment that belongs to this young lady you are seeing on the screen right now. Her name is Christabel Aminu. He locked off her phone and took her motorcycle keys. As he was about to drag away the motorcycle, Christabel quickly rushed him and hold him, and both of them started dragging. After a while, he was able to overpower Christabel and pushed her away. She fell and hit her head on the ground and lost consciousness. He quickly dragged Christabel into her apartment and wrapped her with a black blanket and then escaped. The following day, he tried selling the phone to a man who was not convinced that the phone actually belonged to him, and probably because the way he was acting, and that looked suspicious to the man. The man later secretly called the policemen, and they came and they arrested him. While at the police station, they asked him how he got the phone. He told them that he brought the phone from Libya, and that is where he lives. He just returned to Nigeria for a visit. Unfortunately for him, that same day, the phone rang, and the caller happened to be Christabel's sister, and the police answered. She told them that the owner of that phone has been murdered, and that phone is the stolen phone. The police quickly rushed to the location, and they met Christabel dead. It was when they returned to the station that this young man Michael started confessing that the phone actually belongs to Christabel, and he was the one that murdered Christabel. The following day, Christabel's father went to the station and met with Michael and started threatening him, telling him that his daughter's death is never going to go in vain, that he was going to do everything within his reach to make sure that he takes Michael's own life, and that he was not going to wait for any justice from the government. It was at that point that Michael decided to implicate the father by changing his statement. He told them that he didn't act alone, that it was the father that actually hired him to kill his daughter. He trusted the Nigerian police. Immediately they arrested the man and they detained the man, and the news started going all over the whole of Delta State that the father hired somebody to kill his daughter. Not until after 6 days that he changed his statement again, saying that he actually lied against Christabel's father. When he was asked why he did that, he told them that he also wanted Christabel's father to be in prison so that he would not have the chance to harm him, since he has already threatened to do so. Thereafter, Christabel's father was released from his cell and investigations continued. You won't believe that the police later discovered that Michael Ezewanyi is one of the escapees from a prison in Benin City called Oku Correctional Center during the NSAS jailbreak that happened sometime in 2020. I don't know if you guys can remember, during that NSAS protest, so many prisons across the whole of Nigeria experienced jailbreak, and Michael Ezewanyi is one of the beneficiaries. While he was out, the mother and some of his relatives allegedly raised money for him to travel out of the country, that's to Libya, and that is where he claimed to have been living in the last 4 years, until this time that he returned to Nigeria to commit the same crime, but in different location. Now, let me quickly take you through what actually took him to prison in 2020, where he eventually escaped from. You know, I told you from the beginning of this video that his name is Michael Ezewanyi, but back then in 2020, his name was Collins Ulegbe. It was Collins Ulegbe that murdered the 100-level student of University of Benin inside a Redeemed Christian Church on the 27th of May, 2020. Her name is Vera Uwela Omozowa, and she was just 22 years old. Back then in 2020, during the COVID-19 lockdown, when all schools were not in section, Vera usually go to the Redeemed Christian Church to study, and that was where Collins Ulegbe went to meet her, robbed off her phone, and tried to force himself on her. When Vera resisted, he hit her on her head with fire extinguisher he found in the church, and Vera collapsed immediately. He then escaped with her phone. It was much more later that day that security man in that church went to the church, and surprisingly to him, he met Vera lying unconscious in the pool of her blood. He then raised an alarm. The people in that neighborhood came together and rushed her to the hospital, where she eventually died. The matter was then reported at the police station, and after some days, the police were able to track down the person he sold Vera's phone to, and to that person, he was apprehended, and investigation started immediately. During the course of interrogation, he started implicating different people, starting from the landlady, whose name is Mary Ade. He claimed that the landlady paid him 1 million naira to murder Vera, and after some days, they changed that amount to 1.5 million. And he did all of that because the landlady had already given him quick notice to leave that house, and that he didn't do before the incident happened. And the police later arrested the landlady. Secondly, he implicated 2 of his friends because they were no longer in good terms. And one of them is Nelson Ogbebo, and the other one is Akato Valentine. He told police that both of them assisted him in murdering Vera, and the police later arrested both of them. Thereafter, him, Collins, and all the people implicated were then remanded in prison, and the case was charged to court. As at that time, when the jailbreak happened, where he escaped from, we do not know if all the people implicated were still in prison. Had they been, he was not caught committing his present crime, he wouldn't have known that this young man was no longer in prison, in terms of knowing that he has traveled out of the country. That is Nigeria for you. This is just one of the disadvantages of a jailbreak, because had it been that jailbreak didn't happen back then, we wouldn't have gotten a chance to murder Christabel by now. Christabel would have still been alive. Anyways, may her gentle soul rest in perfect peace. I just hope God Almighty grant the family the fortitude to bear this great loss. So guys, Collins Ulegbe of 5 years ago and Michael Ezewanyi of today is still in police custody, waiting to be charged to court. I just hope and pray that this time he does not have the chance to escape. This is not the first time I've had a thing like this. I've heard of so many convicted criminals that somehow, some way, they got their freedom. Within a very short time, they went back to commit the crime that took them to prison in the very first place. So you have to be careful of whom you keep as a friend. If you have a criminal friend, if he commits a crime and he involves you or rather implicates you, just know that when you are arrested, you are going to be in prison while you try to defend yourself, or rather try to prove your innocence. If it's going to take you 100 years to prove your innocence, just have it in mind that within that 100 years, you will remain in prison. We have so many innocent people languishing in Nigerian prisons today for what they did not do or what they don't even know anything about. That is it. So guys, like and help us share this video so that other people will see it and learn from it. See you next time.